Good morning, everyone. I'm Jim Giacchetta, CTO and co-founder of VidOvation. I'm very pleased to have my good friend Jesse Foster from MultiDyne join us today. How you doing, Jesse?
Excellent, Jim. Thank you.
So, Rick, my colleague Rick and I, we spoke to a lot of customers either via text or on the phone, and it seemed like a lot of people couldn't come to NAB because they were working, they were busy, which I felt was a good sign. So there were those people that, I'm concerned about my health, et cetera, and I don't blame, if you got health concerns coming to a public show like NAB, but I would say a good third of the people were like, I'm in the middle of a production, I'm building a new studio, I can't get away. Which I think is good. People are getting back to work. I'm hoping things are getting back to normal. So how was NAB for you guys? What was your takeaway?
Yeah, so we got a booth kind of later in the scheme of things, and it was in the central hall near all of our partner companies like Conne and Panasonic and Sony, which is what we always aim for. So we had great booth meetings, a lot of kind of pre-qualified, pre-vetted discussions that they just want to get some more detail, meet us in person, see the product in person. So, kind of the takeaway that between my colleague and I that were there was that, fewer tire kickers, fewer, just people, so you got to focus on in-depth discussions and really get some stuff accomplished. So it was probably the best NAB I've ever had in regards to actual detailed discussions with end users who are ready to buy, and it was really great. It was not busy, right? Like load in, load out, everything was really low key and mellow. So we had a great NAB with that said.
Yeah, hopefully that's a new normal, and of course no MultiDyne or VidOvation customers are tire kickers. Those are somebody else's customers.
Yeah,
ours are never tire kickers, but I know what you mean. Some people come to NAB, it's kind of like a mini vacation. From the vendor perspective, right, we want someone who's got an active project. We want to help solve their problem, but then even those people that are just checking out what's new, we engage to they're aware of us when they're ready for a project. Yeah, I think I stopped by your booth a couple of times, and you guys were busy enough where you couldn't talk to me for more than a few minutes, and I thought that was a good problem to have. So the main theme of this is a live production, but the subheading, live production at NAB. But the theme is like what people missed, for those people that either if they were there and didn't get a chance to come to your booth, or people that couldn't make it out, kind of give them the MultiDyne overview. I think that the hot thing though is the cinematic cameras, right? Working a cinematic camera into a broadcast workflow. I know you've done it with a couple of churches. That's a big thing. Everyone wants the cinematic look now, right? Is that kind of the trend?
Exactly. Yeah. So this presentation, I'll primarily focus on the Cine Live aspect of our portfolio, but I do have a couple slides just to highlight, the overall range of products that you would have seen if you were at the show. So yeah, the industry's been kind of hurtling towards this point for a few years now, where cinema cameras manufacturers have their eye on using those types of products in live multicam productions. So they've enhanced them to accept time code, external time code, and gen lock, the different signal types that you would need to have a multicam live production. So those are in place on the camera side, and then on the consumer side, the televisions are all wide color gamut, high contrast ratio, 4K up to 8K, high frame rate, right? So those consumer displays are, causing demand for content. So it's all kind of coming together and culminating in a very exciting time for MultiDyne with our range of fiber camera adapters. So that's what we'll get into here right now, is what we're doing in that space and who's working with us and who we're working with and so forth. So that said, the star of the show in that regard is the SilverBack V. Here you see it on a Sony Venice camera. And let's jump in here. The product has been designed in a way that it is platform agnostic. And this is, a snapshot of the main camera platforms we work with, but based on the design, it can most likely accommodate pretty much anything you run into, or you can use a different version of our products, which I'll show you that you could build this type of workflow using different form factor products from us. So what we're doing is we're leveraging the SMPTE hybrid fiber specification. This cable type is used in broadcast television systems for 20+ years. So if you go with a Panasonic, a Sony, a Ikegami, a Hitachi studio camera system, it's going to have a base station, a CCU component, and the camera, and it has this interconnection umbilical cable that is the SMPTE hybrid spec here. So it has 2 single mode fibers in it. It has power conduction, 2 power conductors, and then also some low voltage signaling conductors as well. This is what we're doing to turn a cinema camera into a TV studio camera, is using this fiber. And there's ways also to not have to use this fiber as well, which I'll show you. But this is really the enabling, infrastructure layer that allows us to make a cinema camera operate like a television camera. Fiber optics is really the key. So just a couple kind of recent use case pictures. The halftime show at this year's Super Bowl was shot with Sony Venice cameras and the SilverBack V. There was a range of these systems in play, and our partners at Funicular Goats put this together, and they own a wide range of these. So these are really popular in rentals and production companies, because rentals, you could take a film camera, digital film camera that's used for documentary style production, slap this SilverBack V on the back of it, and you have a live broadcast camera. And they could take it from Arri to Sony, so it's very flexible in that regard. So this was a real great opportunity for us to work with these guys, and worked flawlessly for them. They love it. So you can see this is going to start rolling out across the board. Trucks, OB trucks, fly packs, going to continue to build out with digital cinema camera front end into the broadcast workflow. So the next, so this is NAB. So this is a few weeks ago, and these are images of our product in our partners' booths. So this is a red V-Raptor in Digital Glue's booth, and they actually worked with a partner company to come up with a B4 as an RF lens mount on the red, and then they have a B4 adapter. So the value there is you can use B4 mount broadcast lenses on this digital film camera for low cost, quick, let's make TV with the lenses we have. And so that's kind of a big thing. They were a big hit at the show. With that said, so that's the SilverBack on the back of a low cost, very high quality but lower cost camera body. Over here on the right hand side, we have a VariCam LT from Panasonic. Here's the Sony Venice in the Able Cine booth. And then here's a Sony FX9 with the SilverBack on the back. And these two are used in productions together simultaneously because they share the same color science. So, we've done productions where, some of the key positions have the Venice, and then some of the ancillary positions have FX9s, so extremely diverse, deployment that we've had, and it continues to grow. And then I was going to mention that I didn't put it in the slides here, but Starhoy does RCP panels, universal control systems, and whatnot. And they have a really cool Casper, the owner, has a video on YouTube, and then he did a flyer at the show that was representative of the project we did with Saddleback Church in Lake Forest, that used the Komodo, red Komodo, and the SilverBack. and then Fuji lenses and the Scarhoy for control. So they actually had iris control from Scarhoy going through us, through Ethernet, through serial, to the lens, you know. So our infrastructure that we put in when it comes to the connectivity, which I have some slides that'll show, is kind of just like a building platform for people to develop these advanced workflows, like, you know, serial data, Ethernet, contact closures, you know, all the different signal types you would need to build a system are in place in the SilverBack. So it's really kind of limitless in what people can do with it, with innovation. So the next one here, this is TV Pro Gear. They do fly packs, and this is their latest version of fly packs. And you see 3 base stations in here. So this is the SilverBack V base station. Each 2RU box does 2 channels. So this is a 6 digital cinema camera fly pack that these 2 cameras here were connected to that fly pack, showing, you know, this the diversity of connectivity that you can get through our system. You can use whatever camera you want, basically. And then this is one that I like to show. I was on site for this. This is a pre-pandemic 2020 Cinematographer Awards, where we actually did ARRI Amiras with SilverBack Vs. And then we used our juice boxes, which essentially eliminate that hybrid fiber and then take you to single mode fiber. So you can run through an infrastructure that doesn't have the hybrid fiber. So just a standard single mode tactical fiber through the Hollywood and Highland venue, down to the street, down to the truck. So this is like a, you know, a common use case for our customers, where you go hybrid fiber. So this box sends power to the camera, and then it converts that to single mode, and then you can run 10 kilometers, you know, across the campus or whatever you need to do. So this was a fun one. So that was the Cinematographers Award show shot with cinema cameras, you know, for the first time, which is pretty cool. So just to jump into the product quickly, OLED display, has metering, shows you time code, gen lock presence, data presence, shows you your video format detected, power status. Very user friendly. Then you got your menu control buttons, you got intercom talk buttons. So that's another thing that we bring, you know, that makes a digital cinema camera into a studio camera, is intercom. 2 channels of intercom and program audio that you can select. And viewfinder switch and status. So this is a way to switch to an external monitor, and it emulates a TV camera, where you can see return video coming from the switcher, and you can see your own viewfinder and switch between the 2 on the same monitor like you can on a broadcast camera. So it's a value add there. And then we also support V mount or gold mount. So again, that's that flexibility that allows us to work with any camera's type. So you can go V mount to go to a Sony directly, and if you use Anton Bauer batteries, then you can have Anton Bauer batteries on the battery side. On the connector panel side, there's our SMPTE 304M. That's a designation of that connector. 311M is the fiber itself. We also support Neutrik optical con. So if you were a Neutrik house, you could go that as opposed to the Lima. So this product is, this version is 4K capable. So you have a 12G, 6G, 3G on the first input, dual 6G capability for like an ARRI Mira 4K. It uses dual 6G to get off the camera body. So that's what you do there. Or if you had a quad link camera, like an F55 or something that was relegated to quad link, or a C700 from Canon or something. This product can handle all those, and in most cases convert in the transport. If you give us quad link, we can give you 12G on the output and vice versa. So 3G IO, we give you additional video back and forth for return, and witness cameras, all different kinds of use cases come up for it. But this is switchable viewfinder IO. So here's your multiple serial datas. So this is good for that Fuji lens control I was just talking about, or even like C motion, fizz, focus, iris, zoom, servos, and this kind of control can go over that data connection. And then we have that full gigabit Ethernet for you as well. The gen lock, bi-level or tri-level, your time code, 2 mic level inputs back to the base station, 4x4 audio, bidirectional, so you can do like scratch tracks and lay down audio on the camera, record at camera, send and return audio, and your headset, and then the contact closures and tabbing. So, jumping into the base station side, you have two systems in one, like I mentioned. You got your power supply status, control, and jump to the back. Sorry, my animation threw me there. So here's your Limo camera 1, camera 2. You have 2 power supplies. This box has redundant power, and then this power supply is for camera 1. This power supply is for camera 2 internally. It really kind of mirrors the IO that was on the camera side, with the exception that we have more real estate. So this is like a proper Tascam, D88 style pinout. And then this intercom tally GPIO is standard to Sony and Panasonic. So it's industry standard pin out there. Then your 2 data connections here and everything else you saw on the camera side. The other thing to note here is there's a web browser internally, an SD card for preset saving and recalls and firmware upgrades. And there's also open gear slots. So
that's the coolest part.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, considering that the solutions are evolving in their own, realm, like like partner companies we work with have 3D LUT processing, 4K to HD down conversion. You could do 4K multi-viewing, the 2110 gateway, right? It's really
I was going to say, you read my mind. 2110 card that doesn't exist yet. You just pop it in there in the future.
Yeah, I mean, there's even solutions out there now on the market from our open gear partners that we can put in there that we're working with them on now. So the beauty of that is, one monolithic box, put it in, has your full camera connectivity, and put you on the 2110 network at the same time. So definitely value add. So at a high level, this is what we had at the Cinematographers Guild, essentially, where you have single mode fiber running to the juice box, and then the juice powers to the camera adapter and the camera, right? But just I like this slide just because it shows at a high level all the connectivity that's going in and out of this system over one fiber, bidirectional.
That's amazing. I think you got every possible signal covered there, Jesse.
There's a few on my list, but yeah, this covers 99% of what we run into. So
that is awesome.
Let's see, and then
I think I've asked you this question before. So the juice box is the bridge between the SMPTE cable, hybrid cable, to longer haul fiber. Yes. So you had that kind of at a midway point, injecting power to the camera, maybe behind stage, and then fiber could go to the truck, or fiber could go to the studio 10,000 miles away. Is that kind of the idea?
Well, this stuff is all like it's distance limited in the regard that it's a dark fiber tech, right? Because we're using CWD.
Oh, right. So you'd have to have a dark fiber to go long haul.
Yeah, and then it would have to be like DWDM, and you could amplify or whatever. But like this stuff is mostly like 10-kilometer distance without amplification or regeneration, right?
But so the yellow part could be the infrastructure in a ballpark, say, for example, and then the rack is in the truck or in the truck bay, and then you're only going a couple of 100 feet with the SMPTE cable from the juice device in the middle to the camera. Is that kind of it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. So this could be 10 kilometers, and this could be about a kilometer.
Very cool.
Cool. So this is coming shortly. A new board that we have for the SilverBack is Quad 12G. So I think we're a little early in regards to what cameras are out there that are doing 8K off the camera body using Quad 12G. The initial ones are probably some proprietary connectivity or HDMI 2.1. But when these come around, it's really just like Quad 3G constituted 4K, Quad 12G will constitute 8K. So we have it ready to go. And then this is a little sneak peek here on the open gear side, cross compatibility, open gear cards ready to go. You can get 8K off the camera, no problem.
A good question came up, kind of pertains to this slide. Someone was asking, if a new camera comes out, how long does it take you to develop a compatible version of the SilverBack, or this tech with the 412Gs would solve that? Or I imagine camera control, right? A new camera comes out, maybe it's got some proprietary version of control. What have you seen?
It hasn't been an issue. Like a new camera comes out, really, fitment is really something we need to make sure, that we don't obscure any connections or anything, just to make sure on the physical realm, but, ARRI uses a CAP protocol for control for their systems, but that just runs over Ethernet, right? So if they make any changes onto themselves in their protocol or anything, it's really just Ethernet to us. Yeah. Right. So it's really not an issue on that regard. I think power might become more and more of a point of interest, as these cameras and ancillary, motors and everything get more power hungry. We actually have a new, so there's a version of, it's kind of a relative of this, guys, the HUTs, right? It's the hybrid universal transceiver. It's a SMPTE elimination device for studio cameras, where you actually connect it to like a Sony studio camera, then go single mode fiber, then go, back to the hybrid realm using these HUT products. But we have a new one called the HUT Ape, which is 300 volt DC. And we have a power supply that will dock to the SilverBack itself and then integrate to it and allow you to power 24 volt cameras and higher consumption rigs using this new SilverBack Ape adapter. So, I think that evolutionarily, that's really kind of what we see as like the main hurdle to get over soon is power, but connectivity and control and reference and everything, that all seems to be a constant or within our capabilities. We haven't gotten thrown by a new camera type.
So a traditional studio camera draws more power, so you'd use the HUT to feed that type of camera, that kind of setup?
I think that is true, they do, but these I just mentioned that just because it's a relative of, it works just like this.
It's very similar. Okay.
Very similar. Like imagine this is a Sony CCU and this is a Sony camera over here. It's like the same concept. But
another question, and I think I know the answer to it, but I'll ask you. So do you guys make an RCP or common, if I'm using Sony cameras, people, if I'm a Sony video engineer, I want the Sony joystick. You interface with the manufacturer's RCP, right? That's seamless. You don't have to use a special RCP, or do you provide RCPs if somebody doesn't want to use the Sony? Are there certain RCPs that are compatible with this setup?
So we're agnostic, but we are capable. So like the Sony uses RS422 legacy S700 protocol for the Venice. That's the 8-pin Hiroshi that everybody's familiar with, right? So you just run that right through us, bidirectional control, no problem, absolutely. And then majority of others are migrating to Ethernet, like that Sony FX9 uses Ethernet control. And other systems that use LANC, we support LANC as well for like some of the FX9 uses LANC if you don't want to use Ethernet. So you have to get an XDCA adapter from Sony to get Ethernet.
You also mentioned a camera control system on one of the other slides. The
Skarhoy?
The how do you pronounce that? SKAARJHOJ?
Skarhoy.
Skarhoy. All right.
Skarhoy.
I'll practice that later. But so you do integrate with third party if you can't afford the Sony setup or the Panasonic CCU, you can use other third parties as long as they are use a protocol that we're piping through the Ethernet or LANC or whatever, or the Sony protocol, et cetera, et cetera.
Zero. Exactly. Okay. So
very good.
We are ready to go for all that. So now it's going to transition into like the bigger scope of camera connectivity from MultiDyne. Like for example, Panasonic, like you see here, this UE150 PTZ camera, they can match that to the VariCam LT and give you like a comparable look from each camera. So you can use them in the same production together, and you could put this PTZ in a position where you can't get an operator, and obviously, right? You know,
they can make it match close enough to a VariCam. So it's not obvious you're not on the VariCam anymore. Wow.
Right. Yeah. They can make the looks match. Right. So, and Sony, everybody's got that, or they're working towards it as well between their different divisions. Right. But the beauty there is, you know, we can bring that fiber connectivity out to whatever camera platform you're using simultaneously, all in the same deployment. Right. So like this is an example using HTC P50 from Sony for high frame rate acquisition. The VB box is a customizable you know, throw down unit that has bracketry that can integrate right to a tripod head, or, you know, whatever type of robotic head you might be using. And then you can populate the VB exactly as you need it. So this camera's got 4 SDIs to get you that high frame rate. It's got gen lock, populate the gen locks, need some tally, and then you're gonna do control over Ethernet. Just build that VB box to specifically meet the application, and it's extremely popular for us on that level.
So this is configurable when you order it. You buy the little box that populated the way you need it.
So yeah, so we have a new tool on our website now. It's a VB config tool, so you can go on there and pick exactly what you want in which direction, and we'll give you a part number, and if you register, you'll get your price and a rear plane elevation. A very, very popular product for us, but it's a similar technology that's in the SilverBack, but it's in a different form factor for, you know, application specific needs. So you see it's very capable on signal types, and this is a growing list, but that's what's available today. And then going down, the next element I wanted to bring up is the OG 4600 series, which is 12G capable. And then we have the OG 3600 series, which is 3G capable. But what this card is doing for us is allowing the receive side, the truck, the fly pack, the control room, the rack room, to use open gear for the high density, enhanced cooling. You have your remote control and monitoring with dashboard, redundant power, you know, SNMP, all kinds of good stuff comes with the open gear. So we've been working hard to integrate, you know, compatibility with our whole platform, right? So you see here's the digital cinema stuff up here is the PTZ, outside broadcast for like EFP, ENG production, our VF9000 high density transport, and then here's the VB and just a throwdown with the battery on it, for example, and then the big light box field fiber systems are also compatible with the open gear product.
So that one card replaces the full one rack, well, half of the capability of that, the big rack mount receiver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's based with that. So for high density, you're saving a lot of space there.
Yeah, I'll show you on this next slide here. So but this is a snapshot. This is like the SilverBack connectivity as well, right? You have your 4 videos, you have all that audio, Ethernet, serial, gen line, all the same, and we could also get intercom through there with some external converters as well. So this, Jim, like you just mentioned, so this is actually a current project that we have with Google, and you can fit 10 of these cards in a 2RU frame and have 10 PTZ deployments, you know, per 2RU frame. So it's extremely high density with all of the, you know, enhancements that open gear gives you. And then just to kind of touch on some of the other things that might be of interest to everybody. You know, we have our throwdown converters. You know, these are used, we got dual 12G transmit and dual receive and single and transceive. So these are used on, you know, POV cameras and occasional use, you know, throwdown 12G DAs, you know, so it's a nice range of products there. Audio monitors, you know, not so much necessarily in signal acquisition, but something that's popular that we have that I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of. This is that SMPTE fiber hut product. That disc plugs into the base station, the CCU from like Sony or Panasonic, converts it to single mode fiber. You run that single mode fiber to this box, and then this powers the camera. So very similar to the Juice. This is a fun one here, wavelength shifting muxes. So we can actually take in any wavelength of fiber and then convert it to a CWDM wavelength. So we could take in, say, 18, 13, 10 nanometer, low cost transmitters and put those over one fiber for you and give them back to you on the other side individually. Our silver bullets, very popular for camera use as well. Open Gear, compression products coming shortly. Field fiber, this is that Bulldog I mentioned earlier, that VF9000 high density transport, and then the camera adapter.
Very cool. That's a great slide. You guys make a lot of cool stuff.
We do. It's exciting times, and there's more cool stuff to come. But that's essentially, what I wanted to cover was we're that enabling piece right now in the industry for all these different camera manufacturers to be deployed in a multicam live environment. We're the guys right now, so it's a pretty exciting time. I'm going to be at Cinegear early June. Was it the 9th, I think, through the 12th in B300, booth B300. We'll have this system. SilverBack will be there, so please come by and say hi and ask me any questions you might have.
Is Frank coming out to that, or are you just doing the show alone, or you and Matt?
I think it's up in the air on who else is going. I'm definitely the one guy right now, but we'll see who else is coming out.
Well, they're not doing it. You're not doing it at the Paramount lot anymore, right? So no in and out. I mean, if there's in it, that maybe that's why Frank's not coming. If there's no in and out,
I did one with them at Paramount, and we got in and out. It was good. Yeah. But yeah, no, it went when I first did it 18 years ago, whatever. It was at the back lot of Universal. That was cool.
Really? Well, that predates me. Yeah.
That was cool. Then it went to like the VA grounds, like federal VA grounds, and nobody could have any beer or anything. So that was the worst. But we'll see what happens.
I remember when the big In-N-Out Burger opened in Vegas. We started. Does Frank still do that? You guys get off the plane at 1 o'clock in the morning for NAB. No. You got to go get In-N-Out, or you guys are more healthy conscious now?
Yeah, it's like the house I just moved from in LA had a In-N-Out on the corner. It was 1973. You could smell it in my backyard, so I'm always
man, that would be horrible for me.
Yeah, but I'm in Texas now, so I'm a Whataburger man. That's what
it's Whataburger in Texas?
Yeah.
Gotta check it out. Well, I think that's it. We had some good questions, but you already answered those. So everyone, give us about a week. We did three half-hour, 20-minute sessions this week. So we're going to edit those, produce those. So I would say inside of a week, we'll have all these recordings up. Cindy put a link to book a meeting with me if you have an immediate need or immediate question, or we can bring Jesse into the conversation for sure. Thank you so much, Jesse. And watch out for that hail in Dallas.
Right.
Use special wax so the hail doesn't dent the car, or what do you do?
So far, I've just been hiding it in my garage, but
yeah. Well,
put a mattress in it. So.
Good luck, buddy, and see you soon. I'll probably walk Cinegear, so I'll definitely see you there. And thank you for being here. And say hi to everyone. Say hi to my brother.
I will. Thanks for having us.
Take care, buddy. Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you. Bye, Cindy. Bye, everybody.